Amara and Sonia were sisters, but their hearts were worlds apart. While Amara rose before the sun to serve her family with love, Sonia spent her days in the mirror, dreaming of a life she didn't want to work for. One was a picture of diligence. The other, a warning of vanity. Amara's kindness was not weakness, but strength clothed in gentleness. While her sisters slept, she was the silent engine of the home, sweeping the compound and ensuring her father's clothes were neatly pressed for church. Her life was a silent testimony of love. But under the same roof lived a different spirit. Sonia loved beauty and applause, but she hated the hard work that made life possible. She watched her sister with a hidden bitterness, seeing Amara's goodness as a threat to her own pride. Then came Michael, a successful engineer back from America. The whole village was buzzing with excitement. While every other girl dressed in their finest jewels to catch his eye, Michael was looking for something deeper. He was looking for a heart he could call home. When Michael arrived, he was the answer to every mother's prayer for their daughter. But Michael wasn't looking for the girl with the loudest laugh or the most jewelry. He was looking for a heart that felt like home. Days turned into weeks, and Michael was constantly approached by eager families. Yet, his gaze often drifted. One sweltering afternoon, he saw her. Amara, not in her finest clothes, but covered in dust from sweeping the village path, her brow furrowed in concentration. It wasn't her beauty that caught his eye, but the quiet dignity with which she served. Sonia began a campaign of lies. She visited Michael in secret, whispering that Amara was a pretender who only wanted his money. She even forged letters to break his trust. Slowly, the doubt she planted began to grow, threatening to destroy everything Amara had prayed for. Sonia's heart was poisoned by envy. She began visiting Michael in secret, whispering fabricated stories that Amara's humility was just a show. She even forged letters to destroy the man's trust. Slowly, the lies began to take root. Michael had seen enough. He was already making plans in his heart to ask for Amara's hand in marriage. He had even begun scouting for a house where they would live. But as Sonia's whispers grew louder, his heart grew colder. Without a word of explanation, Michael began to distance himself. The visits stopped, the smiles faded, and the hope that had filled Amara's heart began to turn into a confusing ache. The village, which had been waiting for an announcement, noticed the change immediately. The whispers started. "Has the big engineer seen her true colors?" they asked. Amara watched from a distance as Michael spoke more to Sonia than to her. She didn't know what she had done wrong, but the silence from the man she loved was louder than any shout. One evening, Amara overheard Sonia laughing with a neighbor about how Michael was reconsidering everything. It was then she realized that the wedding she had dreamed of was over before it even began. The man she trusted was slipping away, lured by the very lies her own sister had woven. With Amara out of the way, Sonia didn't waste any time. She began to dress in her finest clothes every time Michael was near. Acting like the perfect woman she claimed her sister wasn't, she positioned herself as the prize, comforting Michael and telling him he had dodged a bullet by leaving Amara behind. Michael was torn. His mind told him Sonia was being a loyal friend, but his heart felt empty. Every time he looked at Sonia, he missed the peace he felt with Amara, but the seeds of doubt were deep. He began to spend more time with Sonia, and the village started to murmur that the engineer might have chosen the wrong sister after all. Amara watched them from the kitchen window, her heart breaking in silence. She had lost her sister and the man she loved in one stroke, but she didn't scream or fight. She went to her knees. She knew that truth is like oil no matter how much water you pour on it. It will always rise to the top. Blinded by the lies and lonely for companionship, Michael began to fall for Sonia's trap. He started taking her out, buying her gifts, and even visiting her parents to show his intentions. He thought he was moving on, but every time he looked into Sonia's eyes, he saw a shadow of deceit he couldn't quite explain. Still, he pushed his doubts aside, and the village began to whisper that a new wedding date would soon be set this time, for the wrong sister. One afternoon, while Sonia was bragging to her friends near the village stream, she didn't realize Michael's best friend was standing behind the bushes. "I have him exactly where I want him," she laughed. "He actually thinks Amara was the bad one. Men are so easy to fool." Sonia was flying high. She walked through the village like a queen, boasting that she was the one Michael truly wanted all along. She became arrogant, treating Amara like a servant in their own home. She thought her web of lies was unbreakable, but pride always comes before a fall. She didn't realize that Michael was starting to notice the cracks in her stories. One evening, while drinking with Michael and his friends, Sonia got too comfortable. To make herself look better, she tried to tell another lie about Amara's past. But this time she forgot a tale she had mentioned before. Michael's eyes narrowed. He was a smart man, and for the first time, the poison Sonia had given him started to feel like a trap. He began to wonder, if she can lie about her own blood, what is she telling me? Michael was now alert. He invited both sisters to a dinner, claiming he had a big announcement to make. Sonia arrived glowing, convinced he was going to propose. Amara stayed in the background, her heart heavy but her spirit calm. Michael started to tell a test about a secret he had told Sonia in confidence. When Sonia jumped in to confirm a lie she hadn't even heard correctly, the room went dead silent. Michael stood up, his face hard as stone. "I never told you that, Sonia," he said quietly. He turned to the room and exposed every lie she had whispered in the dark. Sonia's face turned pale. The golden girl was finally caught in her own web. In front of everyone, Michael walked past Sonia and stopped right in front of Amara. The silence in the room was deafening. Michael took a deep breath. His eyes filled with regret as he looked at Amara. "I allowed a shadow to blind me from the sun." He whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. He turned to Sonia one last time, his voice cold. "You didn't just lie to me. You tried to destroy your own blood." With that, he took Amara's hand, leading her away from the shame and back into the light. Sonia was left standing alone, the very mockery she had planned for Amara now falling on her own head. Amara and Michael's love grew stronger, built on a foundation of truth that no lie could ever shake again. Because in the end, a beautiful face can hide a heart of stone, but a beautiful soul will always find its way home. They say that a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. But no matter how fast a lie runs, the truth will always catch up. Sonia lost a sister and a future because of a heart full of envy. Amara gained a life of peace because she stayed true to herself. Remember, never let someone else's whispers drown out the truth you see with your own eyes. And to those who are being lied against, stay calm. Your dawn is coming.